Hello viewers, I'm Red2006 and I'm very pleased to have you join me on the latest leg of our scenic tour through the Johto region in Pokemon Gold version. As a quick recap on our last day's adventuring, I gave a little tour around Goldenrod City, showing off the sights and sounds there and encountering a few trainers along the way. Then I went crazy trying to catch Abra and Ditto due to some complete fiascos. Today's adventures will be better, especially since Lyon is just about to evolve. It's a fairly rainy day where I am, but today is bright and interesting in Goldenrod City. What I'm going to do before we head off is pop down to Route 34, the site of the absolute disaster in last episode. What I want to do is evolve Lyon. I've prepared everything, so he is good to go. This little bit of experience will get him over the line. Quick rundown of his stats. Still just teleport, but that will change. Looking pretty impressive. That other Abra I caught didn't have as good stats, so it depended on which one had the better stats. The original is the best. And level 13 Rattata learns Hyper Fang in this game, I believe. It's quite helpful. Gets you through the early game and a bit of the mid game pretty well. But not enough to slow Ruby down. And there we are. At last. It's worth putting the work in. And a spoon has come out of nowhere. A manifestation of psychic powers, most likely. Lyon has confusion, so I'll be training him up on Route 35. That is our adventure for today. We will also be heading out to the bug catching contest. The ire in my memory prevents me from getting the name right, I'm sure of it. I have had so many attempts in practice recordings and I'm pretty sure they were all rigged. By this point, I'm absolutely adamant that the Mega Colony, the Insect Mafia from the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it's a fun game, check it out sometime. They are in control of the bug catching contest and they rig it. The whole thing is fixed, and I'm going to try and break the system today. Anyway, these Pokemon are around Lyon's level, but we should be able to do a fair bit of damage. Alright. Go, Rupert! It's obviously used Roar again because there is no way Vulpix is that slow. Bye, Rupert. And Lyon is back for some reason. I will pick up some TMs for him when I have a bit more money. I need to raise everything I can because I bankrupted myself, or just about, catching that stupid Ditto. And getting Lyon. But all's good. That TM up there, we'll be able to grab that later. That is Rollout, and yes, it is indeed a TM despite the fact it looks like any other item ball. Sandshrew. Again, should be able to do a fair bit of damage. I can't wait till I get Psybeam because the effects for that look really cool. And a critical hit, Lyon is getting down to business already. And Marill. You need to talk to a trainer much later in the game to have an easier time catching this in Mount Mortar. Fairly bulky, but not particularly strong. That said, when abilities came around, huge power was a real boon for Azumarill, especially when you can get it with Aqua Jet. And here is Elliot's girlfriend, and she's talking trash. She has Pikachu as her only Pokemon. You can't catch Pikachu until much later in the game. Yeah, Quick Attack might do a bit of damage. Yeah, that... Oh, it was a critical hit. Pikachu can be strong if it has a Light Ball, but under most circumstances it's not going to do very much damage. Raichu can hit fairly well from either type of attack, but it's a bit fragile and doesn't get much extra HP and speed either. Pikachu's is base 90, Raichu's I think is base 100. I believe it got bumped up to 110, or it was its special attack. Anyway, get a potion out and top Lyon up, or did I sell all those? I sold all the potions, but not the super potions. That tree we saw back there has a Miracle Berry. It restores PP. I think it's a Miracle Berry or it's a Mystery Berry. Again, I'm probably mixing those two up. So I'll put in a correction after this battle. Because I've noticed in editing that it's very, very difficult trying to find a spot to fit text on the screen when I'm correcting myself mid-battle. So if you have seen that, I apologise. I also tend to put those corrections up on the screen a lot because I don't like making mistakes. I'm very hard on myself when it comes to mistakes. Always been the way. And we're just breezing through now. Another Diglett. They're pretty good Pokemon. Got an attack boost in later generations. I think generation 7. Might have been 6. But either way, they had their attack bumped up to 100, I believe. Fairly fast, but incredibly fragile. Diglett had the lowest base HP of any Pokemon until Shedinja came along. Diglett is a rather paltry base 10, Dugtrios is base 30. Onix has 5 more base HP, and I've been ragging on it for its stats. And let's see, Wade is not actually telling us about the bug catching contest, probably because we're so close. We have a couple more trainers up here, a Fire Breather and a Juggler, so we've basically gone to the circus. And I apologise for clicking that line off the screen so quickly. Behold my graceful ball dexterity. I mean, you all want a chance to make a few innuendos, don't you? Anyway, Irwin's Pokemon increase in levels 2, 6, 10 and 14. He's kind of creepy in the remakes. He comes across as a bit of a stalker, especially if you're the female trainer. So I am definitely not having anything to do with him. I'm not getting his number. I think he's meant to come off as an adoring fanboy, but they just went about it the wrong way. More Voltorbs. I have to say, juggling Voltorbs would be a really bad idea. Given they tend to explode at the slightest provocation, even worse if they're electro, things would go wrong. I mean, it would be a spectacular disaster, but a disaster nonetheless. Or maybe it could be some sort of magic trick. Like, you juggle the Voltorbs, they explode, then all of a sudden somebody else is in your place, and then you just walk out of the back of the crowd completely fine and everybody's wondering how you did it. And there we go. Our opponent here has 2 Magmar. You can find them in the Burnt Tower in Ecruteak City. Pretty good Pokemon, to be honest. They are kind of hard to find, but they're definitely worthwhile. They have some pretty good moves along the way. I've mainly come up here so I can get as many levels as possible into all my Pokemon. Because you know what's coming up, we've got to have a pretty strong team for that. I should be right overall. Another couple of confusions will take this down. Feels so good having Kadabra at the forefront of my team. Eventually I will trade Lyon and Ruby, but that will be later on in the game. You could get through the game with Kadabra because it does hit fairly hard, but it's really fragile and Alakazam at least gives it a bit more survivability. Not much. Anyway, you head through there for the bug catching contest, and at night you can battle that policeman. We now head into the long grass and a lovely tree-lined grove that really sees us run into a wild Pokemon first step. Thankfully, it is a good excuse to put in today's spotlight because I'm focusing on the Niddos. While the artwork for this spotlight is just focused on Nidoran male and Nidoran female, the entire line will be covered because, to be honest, they're incredibly dependable Pokemon. They're ones you really can't go wrong with, as they're accessed quite early in a number of games. They learn a great range of versatile moves, which in later generations will be boosted even more with their hidden ability of Sheer Force. It's pretty much hard to pin down what the Niddos can be throwing at you because they have so many options available to them. Nidoqueen is slightly more defensive, and Nidoking is slightly more offensive, though both of them share the same base attack. The regular Niddos have very similar moves, but there are slight differences, such as Nidoran male learning Horn Attack, where Nidoran female will learn Scratch. These differences don't really mean that much when they have so many amazing moves available to them. The Poison Ground typing of Nidoking and Nidoqueen has not been replicated to this day, giving them an extra unique air. In terms of design, they're very distinct and memorable. They're one of the Pokemon that should come to mind when somebody asks, what does a Pokemon look like? In the long run, I cannot stress their versatility enough, and if you want to put one on your team, you will have a very dependable ally. And of course, I'm not going to be trying to catch them with Lyon. Ruby is my best bet. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just check something. Yep, I didn't buy any Pokeballs, so I'm not going to be catching anything. I'll do some catching off screen. I really apologise for that. I mean, I was so desperate to get my hands on an Abra and catch that stupid Ditto that, yeah, I sold heaps of stuff. So I'll just cut out all the encounters from here. At least we got the spotlight on the Niddos done. I'm really sorry that I've managed to screw all this up. I've just sort of gone straight ahead. Mine's still focused on Super Mario Maker 2. That came out yesterday. And I've been having a lot of fun fiddling around with it already. There's plenty to do. And there's our other Nidoran, just so you can see. Now, another trainer you want to talk to is right here. Get Bugcatcher Arnie's phone number, and he will tell you about Yanma appearing on Route 35. Yanma isn't great on its own. It's much better when it evolves into Yanmega. It seems that later generations, 4 and onwards, were really kind to bug-type Pokemon. They got much better moves available. Some of them could actually use special moves better, especially Venomoth and Bug Buzz. That's just one example. And overall, there were just better bug Pokemon. There were just better bug Pokemon overall, especially in Black and White, where you had bugs you could find early, but they didn't evolve ridiculously early, and they were all particularly strong. So we have Arnie's number. We're good to go. Head on down here. And I didn't get interrupted. So let's take a quick look at the team. Okay, well, I'll continue working with Lyon because it's probably not going to be much for Dash to do. I will have him take on Pokemon at the Goldenrod City Gym. He's going to lose a bit of usefulness from here onwards, unfortunately. He will still be useful against Pokemon on Route 38 and 39 because they're fairly low level, but I do want to focus on other team members. He served us particularly well, so he gets to go out with a bang. And here we basically have a rematch of Faulkner's team. These are much better levels. In fact, I think they're equal to the levels of Brock's Pokemon in Red and Blue. So that's the sort of challenge you should be expecting. Okay. Didn't do as much damage as I thought. Just like I mentioned in the spotlight, Pidgeotto has an awkward time because its attack isn't that great. As good a Pokemon as it can be, it does have its issues. So, we've taken him down, and we can head up here for TM04 Rollout. Now, I considered teaching this to Ruby, but she will naturally learn it at level 31. So I might hold off. You can combine Defense Curl and Rollout to make it do double damage. Same deal with Ice Ball in Generation 3. I think I've done pretty much everything I can at the moment. So I will take a little bit of time to do some extra grinding off screen, maybe a couple of levels into each team member, and then we will head off to the bug catching contest. It's time to bring down the Mafia. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode of our scenic tour through the Johto region.